EGM Network.
This is Martha Matters. From real estate, healthcare, current events, taxes, or just about any topic, we're talking about it. Call us with any questions on just about any subject. Now, here she is, Martha!
Well, hi there. How are you? Hey. Boy, we got soaked with rain down here. We can't say we're going to have a forest fire or anything like that anytime soon. We must have gotten about over an inch. Swales alongside of A1A and US1. So anyway, we've got to be thankful. We maybe don't want that much, but you can't be choosy.
You know what, Martha? I'm hoping that's some of the rain that's going to come out of the hurricanes we don't want. So let's get that water out of the way is what I'm saying.
Oh, that's a good idea, yes.
Yeah.
A good idea. Well, I want to talk about something really very, very, very important. And it also involves my personal family, and I'm very accepting and looking forward to it, and I'm very happy. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, where there was one good thing about it. Not all the homes, in fact, the majority, do not have big lawns and beautiful landscapes and everything. It's a lot of cement. What would be a small backyard is usually a parking lot for their cars, and it's cement right on up to the homes. I was one of the few exceptions. We had like a half city block where my house was because it was a very large acre churchyard. But that was way the exception, where I could grow up playing hide-and-go-seek behind all the trees. So, what I did love about Brooklyn, and I may have mentioned this before about a month ago, you had a dentist across the street in a red brick home, 3 stories, but the basement was actually his dental office. And right next door was a lady paying rent for a basement apartment, and she was on welfare. And no one cared about the differences in finance, the difference in ethnicity, and no one cared about how you dressed. The wealthy wife of the dentist came out in a muumuu to put the garbage out, and so did the poor lady who was on welfare. Came out with her loose sack dress and put the garbage out, and everybody got along. We all knew we were different in many ways, both backgrounds, ancestry, finance, but there was one thing in common. We all got along with each other. We all spoke to each other, putting the garbage out, putting the junk guy that comes up the street to collect what we would call special trash pickups and stuff. There was always a reason for talking to one another, because all these different vendors, including the ice cream man, stopped right in the middle of the street, right, and everyone congregated. And that was a really, really nice feeling. Likewise, when I grew up and was a lab supervisor in Brooklyn, I had 2 different techs. The husbands were Roman Catholic and the wives were Jewish, and they got along fine. I think they stayed married until death. The last time I talked to them was about 10 years ago. And as far as raising their kids, they went on Friday as a family. They all went to the synagogue, and on Sunday they all went to the Catholic Church. And they said to their kids, when you grow up, not now, because you're distracted by meals and ice cream cones and events, but when you grow up, 18 to 21, you can decide if you want to be Jewish or Roman Catholic, and we will support your wishes. Same with when you get married. And I never thought, let alone differences between Protestants and Catholics, which are much different. Many of those inter-religious weddings exist. And in Brooklyn, it didn't seem to matter. They were impressed that you were disciplined enough to worship the one God. We all felt they were the same God, and there was not an issue. Now, needless to say, when race came, that wasn't an issue either. Larry King had right next door to him a black couple who were very nice. They were relatives of the fighter Tyson. And we just never thought of protests and people not getting along. And that was true assimilation. We had every color of the rainbow within a 5-block area. Yeah. My father said when he first moved here, there were several blocks that were just Irish and then just Catholic. Then all of a sudden, they all got mixed up. There were Asians who bought property and everything else. And I think that's a beautiful example of assimilation. Nowadays, and especially in England, where it's a real problem, the Muslims that they gladly took in as refugees from France and across the English Channel, they formed their own little villages, complete with their own little courthouse for Islam. Now, that's really not right, and they don't allow the regular English citizens to drive up and down their streets or through the community to the next community. They make it very isolated, and England has stopped that migration now, and they're really having trouble straightening it out. And so is Germany, and so is France, and they don't know what to do. I don't want that happening in the United States. And right now, that's what the Democratic Party is trying to do. With this lack of assimilation, they feel it's racism and prejudice if a small black community exists, like around Memphis and Nashville and almost every city, that the Senate and House representatives need to be black also. That is not true. You can have white representatives for the House, congressional representatives in a black neighborhood. You can have a black person handling a white neighborhood. And in most areas across the country, that does not matter anymore. But this woke business and going back to what the far left Democrat Party wants, that if there's integration, that's racism and the whites are taking over. And that's not the case. Both Thomas Jefferson, whom AOC quotes quite a bit. She didn't read everything he said, obviously, because he said, when you accept immigrants, make sure they assimilate into your way of life. They're all welcome if they enjoy what America has to hold. But if they come here to line up with other people to fight the United States, we don't want them as immigrants, and that's not racism. That's attitude. Attitude, and it doesn't matter the color of your skin. If they'd listened to Martin Luther King and they'd listened to Thomas Jefferson, it's not the color of your skin that's important. It's your character or way of life, your accountability, your desires to make other people happy. They make you happy, give you opportunity to improve your finances. And that's what the United States is all about. It's a real plus and is really needed if you have faith. Faith, friends, family, those are the 3 F's, and also open and pleasant and courteous and helpful to everybody, from your neighbors to those at work or someone you know if you're visiting a hospital, someone who's in need. Assimilate and listen to other people's problems. If they want advice from you, fine. If they don't, that's also fine. But enjoy their company, enjoy the very moment, and make the most of it. And I had a grandma just like that. No, she had like 30 grandchildren, and believe it or not, memorized all their names, but remembered the names with the faces, which I consider quite an accomplishment to 80 and 90-year-old grandmas. But whenever I or any one of her grandchildren talked to her, she put her eyes focused on you like there was no one else in the room, no one else cared. She never yelled across, "Be quiet," to someone else or something. She looked at your face, looked right in your eyes, and wanted to hear every single thing you had to say and care about, as if no one else in the room existed for those few minutes. And that was such a beautiful meeting and meaning also. I'll never forget those times, because it makes you feel as a special person, whatever you're telling her, whatever you want her to say, whatever you discuss, even lighthearted things like what we had for dinner last night. It doesn't matter. Whatever you're talking about, for that 5 minutes, you focus on the person next to you, and it comes across as pure respect, loving, and caring. That did more for me growing up than even a hug from grandparents and parents. Believe me, I love hugging. There's nothing wrong with it. But whatever affects your feelings and your way of thinking, there was nothing like that grandma who made you feel special, like you're the only unique person in the world and you're just wonderful. And there's no way you can say that other than by her actions of loving everything that you had to say. And I wish everyone listening and everyone who's not listening but has families and friends would do the same thing. And we don't need to have this nonsense of woke, of separation of races or anything else. We've grown long past that from when I was a kid up until now, and bringing it back, which the far left is trying to do, to have one group against another group. That is a shame. It's a shame for humanity, and it's also a shame for trying to break up a democracy. Remember, our 250th year anniversary is very, very impressive. A lot of countries have changed names, have changed types of governance have been captured, have joined, have separated in 2.5 years, 250 years. And even the Russian Empire and even the Roman Empire never lasted 250 years. So we have something special, and I want to keep that something special. Not one group going against another, and not this sudden rise in anti-Semitism, anti-Muslims. If there are thugs and people shooting one another, yes, I'm against them, whatever nationality they are. It doesn't matter. But I don't want to grow into one group against another, one village that may all be Hasidic Jews, another village that may be nothing but Italians, nothing but Irish, or nothing but Arab, especially the ones that have not assimilated even in their own culture, like Tehran, where the theocracy is ruling and the less people talk to each other, the better. They are losing the value of citizenship, friendship, one of the 3 F's, because no one can say a word to anyone and have to be suspicious. Our country was founded on free speech. Free speech. And the far left, the less people talk to one another, the more they have control and the more their socialistic agenda comes to pass. Let's not let that happen. We have a beautiful thing in this country that is on the verge of breaking if you let it break, but I don't think we will. And everyone from almost every single country, except for those that were born to hate America, everyone else wants to come here. And believe me, that's the majority of our globe. So let's keep something special. Keep assimilation and keep the 3 F's. Friends, friendship, and faith. They all go together, and we end up having a beautiful culture. We've got to take a quick break, but we'll be back in just a couple of minutes, and I have some more things to tell you. Of a personal nature, believe it or not.
Don't let a dirty pool ruin your fun. Deja Blue Pool Service specializes in green to clean transformations in Vero Beach. We handle chemical balancing and deep cleaning so you can stop scrubbing. Google Deja Blue Pool Service. Keep it clean, keep it blue.
Evergreen Media is your go-to for podcasting. Business owners, boost your brand by educating clients with your own show. Just show up. We handle everything else. Get your custom video podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and more. Start today at egreenmedia.com.
Big news, Treasure Coast. Your favorite mortgage team just got even better. Introducing the same trusted faces you know and love, now with Union Home Mortgage.
Hi, this is Shannon Pohl.
Hi, this is Lucy Cranker.
And these high-producing team members bring decades of experience, unwavering honesty, and hearts of gold to every home loan. And here's the best part. Same local processing, underwriting, and appraisers you rely on. Contact Union Home Mortgage.
Visit us online at shannoncpohl.com
and lucycranker.com.
Are you opening a used car lot, pawn shop, a restaurant that will serve beer and wine? In the state of Florida, these and many other industries require a Level 2 live scan background check for clearance to work in your industry. A1A Fingerprints is your certified live scan source from Broward to Brevard. And if you're a medical provider, you need to be registered on the ACA web portal. A1A Fingerprints will help you navigate and comply with the law. Call 772-494-6556 or visit a1afingerprints.com. A1A Fingerprints.
Hi, welcome back. Hey, I'll tell you something personal. I have a couple of weddings coming up in our family, and one of them, the wife related to me is Christian, and the person she's marrying is Jewish. And the wedding is going to be not in a synagogue, but you may be familiar with it. It's like a Jewish catering hall for bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, and other religious events, including weddings. And the wedding is going to be there, and we're looking forward to it very much. And there's absolutely no friction with a marriage of two different religions. After all, the base of Christianity is Judaism, so it's really not an issue. And the importance is, again, people's accountability, people's practicing their faith, people's kindness, love, and friendship. And that's what this wedding is recommending. I think it's absolutely beautiful. And all I'm saying is, please, like Martin Luther said, it's not the color of your skin, it's not your religion, it's the character. Have faith, have character, have accountability, have respect for everyone else, even if they may not respect you or may disappoint you at times. So please, 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 let's talk a little more to our neighbors, and if they have a day when they don't feel like talking, they're sort of by themselves and disappointed in something that may have taken place personally, give them their space. Don't feel you have to talk to them every single minute. Understand people's reactions. Very often, facial gestures, bodily gestures tell you a whole lot about a person at that moment. It's not just what they say. And for the people who have a smile on their face all the time, I'm not saying that's wrong, but none of us can be smiling all the time. Learn to read their body language a little more, like they may not feel like talking at that moment. Another day they may have a lot to say and will burn your ears. Try to be understanding of these different behaviors, and there is nothing like it, nothing more rewarding, and we would be the envy of the entire globe, of all 7 continents, if we all had that positive attitude, made the most of every minute of every day, whether we be alone or with another person or listening to another person. There are many times when you want to be alone yourself and your spouse or another relative wants to talk for 20 minutes, get something off their chest. Try to be understanding and accommodating, and hopefully another time when you want to be alone, they'll accommodate you. So on that note, have a great week, folks. And please, assimilation is number 1 in this country that makes us great.